Alright, what is good YouTube? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today's video is going to be a how-to drift video. I've been drifting for quite a while on especially the wheel for Forza, started in Forza Horizon 2, so I know quite a bit by this point. Drifting in Forza isn't exactly the hardest thing in the world. It's pretty easy to pick up on, so this video will help you if you're kind of struggling at all and kind of get down more of the basic fundamentals of drifting and kind of put you in the right place to then practice and then get better and evolve as a drifter in Forza. So, if you're wondering what car I'm using, it is right here. It's a Mitsubishi Evo 9. If you want the tune for this car, when you do get it, if you want to be on the same tune as me, you can just search up my gamertag there. As you can see, it's Milky6527. I can't take the numbers out, I don't know why, but it is there. It's a 500 horsepower build, fairly moderate horsepower wise. For starting off, I do suggest, if you're not going to use the same car as me and not use my tune, keep it under like 600 horsepower because it'll help you kind of actually learn how to drift, and the car won't do everything for you. If you go to like 1,000 horsepower, it's going to be a lot easier and you're not going to really understand the fundamentals of drifting. So like I said, this video is going to be a drift tutorial, but it's going to be mainly on the wheel. But if you are on controller, you can still follow along. It's just a lot of the techniques that I'm going to be sharing and using are going to be more wheel based, so it's up to you if you want to watch this one or watch a specific video on controller. But if you are on the wheel, this is the video for you. So I'm going to quickly go over my settings if you are curious. The driver to difficulty makes no difference. Braking, I have anti-lock off. Simulation steering, which I've actually just kind of started trying out. It's just a little bit less forgiving. You can do standard, but I'm going to stick to simulation. Traction control must be off, and stability control must be off as well. If you don't have those off, you will not be able to drift properly. Manual with clutch, if you're on a controller especially, I definitely recommend everybody use with the clutch, because a clutch is a big part in drifting, clutch kicking, and all these things that I'm going to get into. Damage and tire wear, none. You can leave it on cosmetic, but I just leave it on none. And rewind, that can be whatever you want. Here are my wheel settings if you are on the wheel again. If you want to copy these, it is much better than the standard wheel settings that you are given from Forza. So I'm just going to slowly go through copies of these if you want. It makes drifting a little bit more realistic in a way. The wheel just kind of acts a lot better. So if you want to copy these, go ahead. But these settings could change over time, and if you have someone else's settings that you really like, then use that. But nonetheless, we are going to get into it. I'm going to head to a drift spot. I'm going to show you on the map where I'm going to drift and where I suggest you start and follow along with me. It's a fairly simple section and it's a little more easier to connect and just kind of get the fundamentals down of drifting. So you're going to come over here on the map. It is on the far right side. It is a drift zone. It is right here actually. If you can see, it is close to the PR Horizon Rush outpost. It's just down the road over here. So zoom out here, as you can clearly see where it is. If you don't have drift zones unlocked, it is here. Alright, so once you have spawned in, there are a couple things I want to go over really quickly before we start drifting. There's 3 ways to enter a drift, to initiate your drift. There is the handbrake, there is a clutch kick, and there's something called a Scandinavian flick. Don't really worry about those, I might go over them later on in the video, but for right now we're going to focus on just clutch kicking, no handbrake to enter in. So when you want to initiate a drift is what we're just going to focus on really quickly, right? So you're going to come into the corner. I'm in 3rd gear right now, and you just clutch kick and give it gas. Clutch kick and give it gas. And you want to be turning into the corner. As you can see, I'm not trying to control it. I'm just trying to show you guys how to initiate your drift. So you come to a corner, hold the clutch down, hold the gas, turn into the corner. And that's what we're going to start off with. So you just want to spin the tires and kind of rotate in towards the corner. Don't worry if you're spinning out or anything. Just clutch kick, turn into the corner, and you're going to start drifting. Pretty simple. You should be able to do that, no issues. And there you go. That is the first step towards drifting. So the hard part that most of you might be finding is why you maybe search for a video like mine is holding your drifts. Now, when you initiate the drift, you start sliding, right? You do the clutch kick and you go in. So we're going to do it one more time. Come up to the corner. Clutch kick and turn in. And you can see, I'm not really doing much. and I'm kind of letting go of the wheel, and the car wants to already hold. That's why the wheel settings I provided are important, because the wheel, if you just let go of the wheel, it will start counter-rotating and counter-steering. So that's the next step we're going to get into. So after you learn clutch kicking and turning in, you can let go of the wheel, and as you can see, it starts counter-steering. So counter-steering is what is going to make you hold your drifts out and be able to actually physically drift. So we're going to come up to this corner again, and I'm going to clutch kick, enter, let go of the wheel practically, and it's going to counter steer. So you're going to turn away from the corner and kind of hold your car out. So once we're just going to go ahead and try that out. Again, third gear, I'm going to clutch kick. No wheel movements there. I literally completely let go, and as you can see, the car wanted to hold itself. So you're going to be counter steering through this corner here. And don't worry about any of the drift points, by the way. You can turn that off in the settings. So, you just learned how to counter steer. The wheel pretty much does it for you. It turns the opposite way, and it's holding. As you can see, I was barely even doing anything with the wheel, and the car wanted to hold out. So now we're going to go and do that again, and straighten out after the drift. And complete our first drift. So clutch kick, turn in, turning in a little bit more, and that's it. So now you kind of want to work the wheel. As you can see, the car wanted to straighten out a little bit, so I was turning into the corner more. But you basically want to clutch kick to enter, turn into the corner, and when you turn into the corner, let go of the wheel, it will start to counter steer, and then you're going to want to give more gas and just kind of feel it out. It's going to be tough to figure out, but you're going to want to feel out the gas and give more gas if you start to straighten, and less gas if you start to rotate too much. And the wheel movements will become natural after a while, and the throttle control will become natural. So we're going to do that one more time. We're just going to hit the corner, clutch kick enter, and just counter steer and hold out this one corner. So I'm coming up to the corner. I'm going to clutch kick turn in, let go, counter steer, and see, we over rotated a little bit there. I should have done a little bit more wheel work, but I'm just trying to show you how not doing less is more almost. The car pretty much wants to do everything itself. So keep practicing that. Pause the video if you need to. Practice that. Get that down. So you want to clutch kick, hit the gas while you're holding the clutch, turn into the corner, let go of the clutch, the tires will spin, let go of the wheel, it will counter steer, and then give more throttle or steering inputs where needed. Turn into the corner if you need more angle, with more gas, and if you're starting to rotate too much, less gas, and maybe turn away from the corner, if that makes sense. So once you learn that, you've learned how to drift a corner. So I'm going to show you one more time what that looks like. Clutch kick, turn in. Kind of playing with the throttle and holding it out. Kind of using the throttle inputs that I need when necessary, which is something that will come with more practice. Just keep doing it over and over again. Don't try to go crazy. Just keep turning around, coming back to the corner, and doing that again and again. So now that we've done that, we're going to learn how to transition. So again, I'm just going over the basic stuffs here. So we've already learned how to drift a corner. So now you know how to take and drift a corner, but how can you turn from one corner into another corner and continue your drift? So we're going to go through. Clutch kick, turn in, hold, hold, hold. Transition. So that's what a transition looks like. So when you're transitioning from one drift to another, you want to turn into that corner and kind of let off the throttle so that the car's weight shifts across, and then you go into counter steering again, which we've already talked about. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to pass the first corner just so it's a little bit easier from going from one corner to the next. Clutch kick, turn in, off throttle, back on throttle, counter steer. So the car's weight already wants to shift, because the car is going to want to straighten out when you let off throttle, and the weight will shift it the opposite way, and you apply throttle again and counter steer. This part going from one corner to the next can be difficult, but once you know how to complete one single drift, the technique is already there. You just need to apply it to get into the next corner. Clutch kick, turn in, off throttle, and the car just wants to do it itself. Come up here again, does it again. I'm not using any handbrake, no fancy techniques, and the car just does it itself. That corner needs to go up into fourth, but there you can see, you now know how to clutch kick into a corner, counter steer, hold the corner, and then transition into another corner after that and counter steer and drift that corner. Now if you spin out, don't get discouraged. The throttle control and the steering inputs will come with practice. Practice, practice, practice. So again, we're clutch kicking, entering, off throttle, the weight shifts, and see, even I spin out from time to time. Spinning out is totally okay, and it's totally a part of the drifting. And it's something that can happen with lots of experience like I have, or it's something that can happen with no experience. So now you pretty much know how to drift. Just keep practicing that over and over again. Come up to this corner, third gear, clutch kick, turn into the corner, let go of the wheel, regain control of the wheel by counter steering, letting go of the wheel and letting go of the throttle when you want to transition. The car will then shift the opposite way, turn again to the opposite, so counter steer again away from the corner, and back on throttle to continue your drift. So now that is all the basics out of the way. So now that we know the basics of drifting, keep practicing that over and over and over again until you can kind of get that down to a decent extent where you can clutch kick, enter, hold the corner, and transition to the next one. Once you can do that, move on to what I'm going to tell you next, which is a couple different ways to enter a corner. Because once you already know how to transition and how to hold a corner, that's the fundamentals of drifting. From there on out, it's all just developing your own style of drifting. You know, you can do reverse entries, people doing 360s, things like that. Just developing your own style on how you drift and how the way you tune your cars and the way you build your cars. So we're going to go over what I think is a good way to enter. It's like a Scandinavian flick is what they call it. So it's practically clutch kicking, starting a drift before into the corner on the opposite way, and then turning into it. So I'm going to show you how to do. I'm just going to show you as an example really quick, and then we'll get into it. Third gear again, I'm going to clutch kick away, turn into the corner, and hold it out. So you're practically doing a transition almost, which is what I taught you earlier, which is why I'm teaching this now. So you can kind of do what a transition would be before entering the corner. I'm sure you've seen it if you've watched any Formula Drift or any people drifting in real life or even in FORZA already. So again, it's clutch kicking opposite way of the corner, counter steering, and then transitioning into the corner. It's like a stylistic thing. It looks a bit better than just clutch kicking, right? So we clutch kick, turn away, off throttle back in, and doing the necessary inputs that we think we need to do in that time. It is a little more advanced, and it's something that it's going to take time to figure out to get to properly hold the corner out, but it's something that you can definitely learn. The handbrake is a very useful tool in drifting. It can be used to enter a corner, slow your car down, apply more angle by ripping the handbrake. It can make the back wheels lock up and kick your back end out more, then again giving you more angle. So it's a very useful tool, but it's something I suggest you kind of learn to use less in the beginning. As you can see from the start of this whole video, I wasn't using the handbrake at all. I was just drifting without it, gas, clutch, wasn't even using the brake really. So you can enter in with the handbrake, and it's a very useful tool. So I'm going to show you how to use the handbrake here as an example for to enter a corner, to initiate your drift. You're going to need a little bit more speed. So we're going in, we're going to pull the handbrake, hold the clutch, and the same principles we applied before with counter steering and everything I've taught you already. So it's pretty simple. It's a simple way to enter the corner. If you don't want to clutch kick or whatever, you can just do that. So there you have it, guys. There is how to drift in Forza Horizon 5.